Hi everyone. I'm Liz Barry, a member of the Public Lab and co-founder of the supporting nonprofit organization. You can see on our slide here, one of our mantras is accountability through evidence. The other one of our mantras is boots on the ground. So I'm so happy to be joining everyone today. I have so many colleagues in the crowd. It's really, really wonderful, really exciting conference. Thanks to everyone. I'm going to attempt to offer a slightly different paradigm for the way that environmental research takes place in civic life and how journalism can relate to that. 3 years ago, when the airspace above the BP oil disaster was closed to anyone but corporate and government employees, some pissed-off fishermen, boat owners, urban activists, and civic-minded hackers got together with garbage bags full of helium, children's kites, and point-and-shoot cameras that their mom gave them in 2006 to capture our own aerial image documentation. These community members captured over 200 miles of shoreline at very high temporal resolution before, during, and after the oil spill. These super high resolution maps were released into the public domain and carried around the world. They're now making their way through the court system as evidence. The chain of pixel custody was preserved through our browser-based software that we made to help people turn their pictures into maps. So shortly after all this activity, Public Lab, the nonprofit, was funded by the Night News Challenge as a civic media organization. We crafted what had been a spontaneous community response to environmental crisis into a model of civic science. In the Public Lab, technologists, scientists, residents, designers, everyone works together in person and online to create tools that can be used by community members to tell stories about their environment. We collaboratively develop low-cost, easy-to-make hardware, supported by easy-to-use browser-based software to produce legible data, not spreadsheets of numbers, for advocacy. So journalists participate in these networks side by side with the people who are developing tools. To connect to this tool development process, join the Public Laboratory mailing list. And in the Public Lab, journalists don't issue calls for people to use tools to collect data for them, but rather journalists are embedded in communities who are doing place-based research on stories they've identified as important. To connect to these local research projects, join local mailing lists. An important point to make in light of what we've been discussing today is that research starts with a question, or rather, who is asking the question? This is the question of where agency lies in research. So if we only offer people roles in data collection or data processing, while reserving the act of crafting the question and method for ourselves, we fail to empower communities who are facing the worst issues of environmental justice. So people get involved in Public Lab because they want to know and already know their environment better than any outsider. And they care that the environment is being managed poorly by government agencies or corporate neighbors. Public Lab local research issues small data, high quality data, and multiple kinds of data for cross-checking. So for New York City, the question was, is there really a freshwater inflow entering the Gowanus? Should the EPA change their Superfund plan? Well, let's look at the cracks in the concrete, at patterns in the vegetation, the bacterial counts downstream and upstream, and the murky pollution which somehow clears out right next to a certain spot on the bank. Well, the community issued this data and the EPA adjusted their plan. So to wrap up, I want to echo what one of the speakers said earlier, that image-based tools are powerful and ubiquitous. Our 3 feature tools, and we have 6 others in the pipeline, are balloon and kite aerial mapping, an infrared plant camera called an infragram, currently on Kickstarter, and a spectrometer with 3 nanometer resolution. And all these tools are based on physical hacks of consumer cameras and taking advantage of the fundamental properties of light and matter. No soldering needed. So we designed tools to be accessible, for materials to be replaced with what's at hand, and a liberal use of tape, rubber bands, string, plastic, broken CDs, bottles from the recycling bin. The proven aerial technology of balloons and kites, yes, drone people, I'm pointing at you, that reveals who is operating them so you can ask them why and ask them what their question is. Kind of a MacGyver approach. So we are not a crowd, we are individuals with agency. The infatuation alluded to earlier between makers and storytellers is our long-term relationship. We built a house, and you can come over for dinner. The last point I'm going to make is that the clearest expression of the success of this model of Public Lab's vibrant culture of environmental research is that all of Public Lab's good equipment that I could be demoing to you this afternoon is actually loaned out right now. It's flying over Jamaica Bay, over the damaged shorelines of Manhattan, and all I have with me for this afternoon is literally the bottom of the barrel, the scrappiest of the equipment left over, and patterns to make more of them. So I look forward to speaking with you all more.